Yeah, and then we get the splashy screen, and
there we are.
We might see our faces soon. Hey!
Oh, there I am.
Check it out. We've got a really goofy setup today, everybody.
Super goofy.
You might be able to see both of us at the same time if I put my head like this. Hi!
We couldn't get the webcam or one of the other cams to work today because we are not professionals like Emoto.
Yeah.
So
sans Emoto, we couldn't get the last camera we needed working.
The struggle is real, man.
So yeah, we're just kind of split the camera between Steve and I, because I know everyone.
I'm doing the thing that I really, really, really hate. Oh, Colin, I'm doing it for you.
Hydrate.
Right here, saw you redeem that.
Man, we are total stream lords now.
Hydro homies.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing the thing that I hate, like in modern commercials and like a lot of like technical videos, you'll get this side shot of the person's head while they're talking, and it bothers me to no end, and now I am one of those.
Guilty. Sorry,
Guilty.
Steve.
Oh, it's okay, man. We got to do it, you know, show must go on.
We do, and I'm going to stay off camera because what interesting is happening here, not over there. You may also notice here on episode 72 or whatever.
72.
Wow. That we also have the lights on because this helps Kyle see. Kyle's blind. But yeah, Steve, how was your week?
My week has been really good, man. You know, Been doing a lot of product resourcing, a lot of like content work on the website.
Heck yeah.
Just feel pretty accomplished this week, man. How about you?
My week has been pretty okay mostly because I was on vacation on Monday.
Ooh, that's right. Where'd you go again?
Went to Savannah, Georgia.
Awesome.
It was a wonderful place.
You get to go to the Greyface Museum, which I'm very jealous of.
Yep.
I really want to check that place out.
I got to go to the Graveface Museum. I got to meet Ryan Graveface multiple occasions. I got to go to the record store. I went and did all sorts of historic stuff. It was a great time. But otherwise, everything's pretty good. I've been very much looking forward to doing this show, as usual. I'm very much excited to work on Bally games because Bally Pinball is the best pinball. Now that we've talked a bit, can y'all let us know if our audio is okay? Please. Also, Steve, could you try putting on the pile stand camera on the center view?
Oh, for sure.
I just want to see if it's going to catch my toolbox. So yeah, since it's on top of the handheld, if you click that, it'll override what's below it. There it goes.
Okay.
Yeah, you get a little bit of my toolbox, but that's okay. Audio sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks, Dig71. And Hello, Jay.
Cool.
Got our first question. Do you want me to shelve it and wait, or
no? Let's talk.
Check it out.
Let's check it out real quick.
Okay. What temperature should energetic coach set his soldering iron to when working on boards?
So there's no real right answer for this, but my favorite answer when people ask is just whatever. Start with what you're comfortable at, but your goal with the soldering iron is to keep it on the board as little time as possible, right? So set it as hot as you can possibly stand it to make sure you're keeping it on the board, as little time as possible to avoid any damage. I keep my Hacko here set to 750 degrees. Sometimes I set it up to between 750 and 800 is usually what I have mine set to.
Colin likes 700 to 750, so it sounds like you've got a range there.
Yeah, the hotter the better, but not where it's going to hurt you. So
that is a Sprite, Colin.
Oh yeah, we're drinking. It's blue Sprite. But towards the end of the show, it might be something different. So. But yeah, let's get a move on. I'm gonna really quickly just dust off this nasty board.
Jeez, Colin, you want to see me get up and walk away, don't you?
This thing is
all
great.
right. I am an internet clown for your amusement. There we go.
Yeah, we're e-clowns.
Got to do what the Twitch tells me. Colin probably has like 7,000 points too.
Yeah, we're going to be sipping a lot.
Yeah, that's 70 hydrations at least.
So something I realized this morning as I was driving to this area is I forgot my box of parts. I have all the parts I need here. Oh, sorry, you're right. I need to drink too.
Oh no, 21,000. That's 210 hydrations. 0.4. 214 hydrations. Save some for next week, Colin.
Yeah, geez, man. They're not going anywhere.
Hey, Daniel. Good to see you, man. Dang it, Colin.
Is he really getting us?
He's getting us, man. It's going to be the whole episode. I can feel it.
My goodness. Can we have anti-hydration points?
I don't know how to get rid of those, man. I haven't spent enough time looking into it. Like, I thought it was funny when Emoto was on the other end of it, but now I'm seeing the issues.
I forgot my box of parts. Do the small camera if you would.
Oh, now I got to stretch.
We've got, I forgot my box of parts. I need a fuse clip. You see that fuse clip, how it's not really holding the fuse anymore?
Why are some of them still shiny and gold and some look very tarnished? Yeah.
They're oxidized pretty bad. Or someone has replaced a couple of them and not all of them. It doesn't have any evidence. It really doesn't look like someone's replaced them before, but What I might end up doing, and this is not just for the sake of completion, I would never recommend to do this, but I'm probably going to scavenge. Can you put on the other camera?
Yeah.
I'm probably going to scavenge a couple from this other board. I would never recommend anyone do that unless they're in the sort of situation where they really, really need a fuse clip and you don't have one. So, but yeah, we got to get rid of that because that's going to be a poor connection. We're going to start with this really simple rectifier board today. These very commonly, as we talked about last week, they burn up. And when things start to get burnt up and nasty, you aren't able to repair them as easy, and you got to do goofy stuff to fix them and make them look right. This one's not bad, but let's pretend like we just want to straight out swap some components and what else you might need to do if your board looks like this. If your board looks like this, sans the busted fuse clip, this would probably be a very safe board to run in your game. It's in good shape. It isn't nasty. Someone here on this board was trying to mount one of these rectifiers off the board. So maybe floating above with a heat sink on top. This is repairable and it's totally fine, but I'm not because this one's nicer. So I'm just going to use this. But generally the two things you're going to want to do to these boards is you need to reflow the solder on all of these. Oh, sorry. You know what? Hold on. I got to put this camera up. Ta-da. Look at that. You got a better vantage point now. You want to reflow the solder points on all of your big Molex connectors, and that will ensure good operation in the future. And just for giggles, I'm going to replace the bridge rectifiers. Normally, I would just replace one, but let's do it twice just so we have it on camera multiple times.
Why would you only replace one?
Well, because these two bridge rectifiers here, they rectify. One of them is for the 43 volts that turns into your solenoid power, and the other one does the 8 volts, or no, I'm sorry, 16 volts that is used on the feature lamps. Let me see if I can find the correct page in this vector manual. Give me a sec. What happens though is that the bridge rectifier for the 18 volt or the feature lamp voltage just gets really, really, when it starts to get weak and old and it's been doing its job for a really long time, it gets burnt out and it starts to become weak. Weak in the sense that your feature lights will be just a teeny bit dimmer. So a lot of times I like to replace that rectifier just to have a little bit brighter feature lamps from the get-go. So I'm going to study this really quick and then give the information. But this board actually has 4 rectifiers. They're just going to be in different package. You have a bridge rectifier like this, which is essentially 4 diodes facing, the same direction 4 times. And then you've got I don't know, is this called a discrete diode? Are there any electrical engineers here? This is the same, or a discrete rectifier. This is the same thing. It's just done using 4 individual diodes as opposed to a bridge.
So for those in the chat that might not know, what does a bridge rectifier do?
A bridge rectifier will turn your AC voltage into DC voltage. That's the simplest way to explain it. So, let's see here, really quick.
No, Daniel, I'm with you. Yeah. It says it's better to just go ahead and replace them all because you got the board out of the machine and they're super cheap.
Yep. Yeah, they don't cost anything. I think these things are like $4 a piece on our website. This is there's a few different flavors. These are over specified for this board. I think these things are 300 amp. Hold on, I have the sticker right here.
KBPC.
It's a 35 amp 400 volt rectifier.
So what's the part number for that?
It's
KBPC.
KBPC 354 -W.
-W for wired. Okay, gotcha.
So let me see here really quick. Okay, so you've got the 6.5 volt DC switched illumination. So that's BR1, which is the rectifier on the left of the board. BR2 is a rectifier for the 43 volts, which is your solenoid voltage. This set of diodes right here is your high voltage rectifier. So that rectifies the 230 volts AC into DC, which is then used in your displays. And this rectifier right here turns, it is for your 12 volts. So it just transforms AC voltage into DC voltage, which is then usable by all of the electronics.
Is there any reason why they went with a discrete rectifier there and the packaged rectifiers for the other two?
I don't know. Space, heat dissipation as well, probably. Like, one of the things with this setup...
Obi!
What's up? So you can see here, I think these are the ones that are, like, they're just pounded on and they're used a lot. They create a lot of heat. This white goop is a heat sink compound. This helps create a good bond between the device and what will be the heat sink. In this case, there's a big metal plate at the bottom of the game, which then absorbs all of the heat. So this helps make a better contact. So these guys here, they are pressed up against that heat sink and they, it soaks up all of the residual heat. These guys, maybe they just don't get as hot. I think they're lower amperage circuit as well. So that is why, maybe, I don't know. I'm not an electrical engineer. I just know how to fix stuff. So what we're going to do really quick is I think we'll replace the components and then we'll start reflowing solder. And then I will get in and steal a fuse clip.
Star. Swirly thing.
Swirly thing?
No, you get the star, the 3 lines for the ESP test.
Oh.
I can't remember the other two. I just remember the star and the wavy lines.
Remember more than I do. I've got a hot soldering iron. I've got some flux. I think I have a solder sucker in here. Hey, a solder sucker. Okay, let's get to work. De-soldering bridge rectifiers is kind of a pain in the butt sometimes. It's really a pain in the butt on WPC games when you're working on the big driver boards because they use a lugged style rectifier. Those lugs soak up a ton of heat and they're just really difficult to unsolder. A lot of times when I have to do a bridge rectifier or something, or the capacitors on a WPC driver board.
Yeah, Kyle, where is your hack go?
The tip is clogged and I ordered a new tip and I didn't get the right tip, so I can't use it. And honestly, I wouldn't use the Hacko in this situation because this is a really sturdy circuit. If I was working on like traces on a fine computer or something, I'd want to use the Hacko because that will not damage the pads and the traces. These pads are gigantic.
What? Obi and Colin, they're great.
Oh, just the tip, always.
Yeah, and you have any idea what the paste on those bridge rectifiers tastes like? I mean, Obi really wants to know.
My flux, gross. I'm sure it tastes gross. I'm sure I've inadvertently eaten a lot because I need to learn to wash my hands better.
The heatsink paste tastes like
flux? Heatsink pinks? I don't know what that tastes like. It doesn't smell good, though. These are really big traces, so they do take a lot of heat to really melt the solder.
Dent, he's using a... what, 35 amp, 400 volt?
I think that sounds right. Very overrated for this application. These are a pain to get out. This is not fun. Sometimes what I will do, and like I was saying with the WPC stuff, is I will actually use 2 soldering irons or use my de-soldering iron and another soldering iron, and what that will allow me to achieve is to heat up 2 sides at one time to be able to pull it away, heat up the other 2, pull it away, and gently kind of rock it out. I added a little bit more solder here to try to get it to flow into the hole and see if I can get it clear. I might resort to 2 soldering irons here. And I know that a lot of people might not have 2 soldering irons, but since I do, I'm going to do it the clean way and the easy way. At least how I know how to do it. The other thing too, this is another reason I also dislike folding legs of components over. When they built these things, they stuffed them and then they folded the legs of the rectifier down. And what that causes is, it holds it into the board, but it makes it really difficult to remove. There might just be enough room where I can grab them with my flush cutters and bend them straight to be able to pull it out. So I'm going to heat it up I'm going to use the screwdriver to try to pry the leg up a little bit.
Are you talking about the lug version, Colin? It's pretty hard to cut a lug, isn't it?
Yeah, just because usually you don't have enough space to get to it. That becomes the difficult thing. A lot of times the rectifiers are mounted flush to a board, you know. So I'm going to try.
I like Nolan's description of those joints. So
What?
I have this big cheapo solder sucker iron combo that is good for meaty joints like that.
Meaty joints.
They're meaty. I like it.
I like a meaty joint. Let's see. These are pretty nasty. Let's see what I can get though. Before using 2 irons.
Thank you, Daniel.
There we go. Those are pretty straight. Those might be able to come out now.
Guys after my own heart.
What?
Obi and Nolan.
Oh yeah. I think we get along with all of these people, but man, those guys seem like those guys seem like the kind of people we'd be hanging out with. Beer drinking weirdos. All right. I'm going to heat this up again and stick it over the leg and really suck and see what I can get. Nothing. Okay. Well, I think my new plan of action right now is I'm going to try to remove as much solder as I can from all of these, try to straighten them out, and see if I can slowly wiggle it out with 1 iron, just to show that it is possible. This just takes a long time. Again, when I'm charging by the hour, I'd rather plug in 2 irons and just make it go real quick. Don't breathe this in, remember. Also, do not eat anything while you're soldering. That's weird, and it will kill you eventually.
Like a good chili dog while I'm soldering.
Yeah, you know. Per usual, that's what everyone needs.
Ye ol' wasted. Wouldn't it be ye oldie?
Ye oldie wasted. It is sad to do this sometimes, and I always try to preserve as much of the board as I can, but you really ruin the board. You get rid of that pretty green screening, and it turns into a mess. But
wow.
let's see what we can get. So these are on spacers. They're spaced away from the board just a teeny bit. Those spacers are crucial because that sets the correct distance to mount flush with the heatsink on the bottom of the game, which we will look at. What I'm going to try to do is use my handy dandy Williams Bally Midway bent screwdriver to kind of put that underneath that heatsink, and we're going to try to heat up 2 sides and quickly start moving it away. So let's see what we can do. I'm just going to start heating up one of these legs. These boards are very hardy and solid, so don't worry about holding things on for too long.
Oh, what do you think about Dent 0123's suggestion?
What's he say?
He said, seems like a larger 150 amp soldering gun would be more appropriate for these larger rectifier connections. Might be able to go across 2 connections at once.
Well, there's a couple ways you can kind of cheat that. Depending on the iron, sometimes you can get irons with replaceable tips that you can get a really wide tip, which I have seen used to remove the capacitors on the WPC boards. But sometimes you can also use the base of the iron too, right? The shaft. So if I hold the shaft of the iron like this across the leads, I can get a similar but not the same action of trying to heat these things up. So that's kind of what I'm working with back here.
I want to live in Obi's world, man.
Yeah?
Why?
Why?
Those are graham crackers for the frosting on top of those rectifiers. It's like a little electronic s'more.
Now we just need a campfire. We just need to catch something on fire. All right. This is not an easy job.
Difficulty scale.
Difficulty scale, I mean, I would say, you know, it's funny because it is really easy, but it's easy in practice, but it's really hard to do gracefully. I think that this would definitely be, this is a competency problem and like a 3-hand problem. I'd say that this is like a 4. Not because it's like complicated, but just because it's a pain in the butt to get these dang things out. So.
And it looks like it takes a lot of patience as well.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I could be really impatient and really screw this thing up, but I'm going to try to preserve the integrity of the board as best I can. I might have to work with one at a time, which is annoying, but...
That's right, retro gaming with hot board. It's always more nerve-wracking when you're on camera.
Yeah, that too. I'm trying to talk about what I'm doing.
And a couple people have suggested, you know, getting under them and cutting them from that side of the board.
The only problem is when you cut them, well, yes, that is absolutely a viable way to do it, which is what normally we will work towards, but the problem is getting that first bit of space. There we go. So it looks like I was actually really successful with the getting enough of the solder away from the traces. I was able to put the screwdriver in the center here and just kind of force it out. I may have ripped a fillet. We'll find out in a second. But even if I did, it's not the end of the world because the traces for these are on the top side. So they don't need to connect through to the back.
That's right, Kung Shu.
If I remember right.
He said you need like a tension rod to apply constant pressure from the underside. How cool would that be?
That would be amazing if we could get to the underside. Actually, I'm wrong. There are traces on both sides, but it's okay. I didn't rip any fillets, and that's what happens when you try to very thoroughly remove as much solder as possible. But what I ended up doing was I used the screwdriver kind of as a tension rod. I heated the top two up, really, really hot, and I applied pressure this way, which pulled this out. So that worked. And we didn't screw up the top side too much, which was my main concern. These holes look fine, but I think we are going to remove both rectifiers and then install. So yeah, I guess the thing is, like,
Daniel says, nice job, man.
Why, thank you. It's been a while since I've done this, so it's probably taking me 2.5 times as long as it should. But, this is the kind of stuff you do have to weigh. Is it worth buying a new board or not? This is a very simple board to fix, but it does require some patience and some technique. So you could go and spend, I don't know, how much is this board, the -54 board?
We can look real quick. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But.
This thing can't cost more than $100. And if it does cost more than $100, it costs a little bit more than $100. Or you can rebuild it for like $7 and an hour or 45 minutes of time. So what's your time worth? Is it more interesting to rebuild this and try to repair it than it is to replace? I think it's what, AS
2518-54.
54. We're looking at parts.
$100?
They're $100.
You nailed it.
So, this is valuable learning experience, right? Like this is something good to learn. How to unsolder these big nasty rectifiers.
As $2.
Yeah, versus $4 to repair the entire board most of the time. Plus, again, sometimes, these games do suffer from the general illumination connector problems as well, that most games in the 80s did. So sometimes you will have a burnt up connector where the GI goes to. So you might need to replace one of those, but still, most of the time to repair this board in parts, it costs less than $10.
In time, maybe over $100, depending on what your time is worth.
Absolutely. If it looked like that one, I probably wouldn't try to fix it.
The previous one you showed?
Yeah, the one with the wires sticking out. Like, I would probably take that as a core from like a customer and then try to rebuild it and use it in a game somewhere or something. And do this all on the bench as opposed to like on the customer's floor, on my knees, or something, or on top of the glass, But the yeah, I don't know. It is weird. That's the thing is like all these parts are so cheap now. Let's see. Stop breathing in the smoke, Kyle. This solder sucker is also kind of pitiful.
That's what Kung Shu was like, maybe for Christmas you should ask Marco for a de-soldering gun?
Again though, honestly, I wouldn't use a de-soldering iron on this project. De-soldering irons are really finicky. And when you load the de-soldering tube up with a ton of flux and a bunch of solder, they clog up real easy, and the manual desoldering pump is just fine for this job. What?
Dent0123 says, I've been breathing out smoke since around 1985 with no issues.
Okay. Well then, shucks. Me too, man. I'll start now.
I mean, you know, the Roman Empire and all that, but
yeah,
I guess lead's okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to try to remove this side, the top side first, just because I can see I've desoldered them a little more completely. What?
Kung Shu. So I think they probably just used to use like straight straws to inhale the solder and fumes. Back in the 80s, man. Yeah.
It's a different time. What was it like, Steve? Let's get this real hot.
Obi, I wouldn't suggest that, man.
Is this turning into the bad advice program?
It is, as usual. Yeah.
Let's keep the advice good, well suited. We're trying to teach people here, not show them we're a bunch of freaks, but you know, can't help everything.
It's hard to do one without the other.
Yeah, it really is.
Let's pour out a little lead for old Cletus.
Yeah, God. I'm going to try to do this with a slight, oops, don't throw soldering irons on the ground. That's not smart. Whew, that's toasty. Got them all but one. Get out of there. You're going to the great electronics recycling bin in the sky. There it goes. Ta-da! So, not that hard, but not super easy, straightforward. It's definitely not the job I would like try to get a beginner to do for their first solder job, you know? So, ta-da! I will clean up the top a little bit. I've got clean through holes, but still. Actually, that was the only one that was pretty crappy. Looks good.
Are there labels on the board telling you plus and minus and AC points should be located for the new bridges?
Yes, but thankfully, bridge rectifiers really only go in one direction. You see the legs?
They got the one little short leg, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the legs are spaced very peculiarly, and you can't really put them in incorrectly. Put that spacer on. But yeah, just to show, positive, AC, AC, they are marked on the board. Nope. And for the next guy, I will not bend these leads over. I didn't get one very well, did I? All right, back to the drawing board. Okay, so on these boards with really thick traces, sometimes it is hard to heat the solder up all the way to pull all the solder out. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to introduce a bunch of new, fresh, warm solder into the hole and then suck that all out. And I don't know if I did it better or worse.
Nolan wants to know if bridges and those fat WPC95 diodes degrade with age.
Yeah, definitely.
Is replacing them good maintenance?
No.
Yeah.
Do not replace them unless you need to, because look how hard it was to get these things out. Now imagine doing it the big fat lugged ones. They're even harder.
Yeah, Nolan's right. Yeah, just wait for them to fail. Yep.
Most people will do more damage removing them than what they were trying to repair in the first place. So.
And Dig71 has an interesting question. He says that spacer is to create some distance for cooling. Wouldn't it be better to actually create an air gap?
No. What that spacer is for is to perfectly gap the rectifier so it makes contact with the heat sink, which also happens to be the bottom panel of the pinball game. So would it? Yes. Okay. So actually, no, that's not what it's for. And yes, an air gap would be more conducive to more effective cooling, but that's not what it's for, unfortunately. Again, though, it's like, you know, if I wanted to do a really awesome mod, I would have mounted these rectifiers to the top side of the board and installed like a big external heatsink. I didn't feel like doing that, like because I don't have those we don't have those heat sinks in stock, which is something I kind of want to look for.
Wow.
And B,
Grumpy EM Doctor.
I like doing this. What?
He said, I had to do this recently on an 8-ball deluxe. Cletus got to the board before me, and the pads were mostly all gone. Consequently, the old rectifier and the replacement required the pins to be left fairly long and folded over to reach remaining traces. The problem he ran into was he failed to get the rectifier seated tight enough when he soldered, and once screwed down, solder points popped. He even heard one.
Oh, wow.
And he had to reflow the solder again after the board was installed inside the game.
Yeah. Yeah, to ensure good connection to what is the heatsink, there are 2 screws that go through the center of the bridge rectifiers. And that's what happened is David didn't have them mounted just snug enough. And when he torqued them down to get the nice solid connection to that heatsink, it popped the traces up, which I've also done.
And Retro Gaming with Hopper asks, what if the spacer's missing?
You're boned. No, seriously, like, I mean, I don't know how thick this is, but I have cut these before, just to have them. Oh, yeah, sorry, I don't know which camera is even on. They're skinny, I don't know, I don't have a ruler or a caliper with me, but I think that this is definitely like a 32nd of an, or a 16th of an inch or something like that. I guess I mean,
could you make something else that's non-conductive and use that as a spacer? Or?
Oh yeah, it's just about getting the spacing right. It's not, the only critical thing that the spacer actually does, again, is space it for the heatsink. It's not, you could use whatever you want.
Yeah, that looks like Bakelite to me too, Colin.
Yeah, it's Bakelite. Yep. Or fiber board. It might not be, I don't know if Bakelite is its own thing, but I don't think fiberboard is necessarily Bakelite.
Right.
Even though they look really similar. Because Bakelite's like a plastic. So that's more like a flipper link material, right? The stuff they used to make, or Gottlieb used for flipper links, and Bally and everyone did, you know. I always carry a sheet of fiberboard in my toolbox. Just in case.
Dent0123 says he's heard that on some machines, possibly Williams, they added fuses outside the power supply board to avoid future potential issues. Will that be required here on Vector?
No, Bally did a good job fusing things, actually.
Yes, cookies are non-conductive.
The only upgrade Bally ever did to this board was they actually separated the GI circuits. So they added another fuse to this board right over here. They're both the same, just there are 2 fuses for one for the GI in the head and one for the GI on the playfield. But Bally did a good job of fusing things. The flippers were fused with the 43 amp fuse, which is on this board here. 43, not 43 amp, the 43 volt circuit fuse, but all of the actual solenoids under the playfield are fused individually. Not individually, I'm sorry, they're fused as a group. So every solenoid in the game on the playfield, so we're excluding coin lockout coil and the knocker and the flippers, have their own fuse on these Bally games. So I don't know. I guess it's kind of annoying because like some games they would like fuse a group of solenoids where Bally just fuses all of them. So if you blew a fuse and on your grouped solenoids and it's like solenoids 1 through 8 are this fuse and 8 through 16 are this fuse, and the 8 through 16 one blew, you knew where to look, right? On this, if you blow a solenoid, you just have to figure it out. At least you don't have to look at the flippers. I cut these. Ow. These are starting to suck. I've had these for way too long, and they've been relegated just to, I'm dull, and I need to cut things that will normally not be cut by flush cutters. It's time to promote the next set. I always have at least 3 sets in my toolbox. But these ones are marginally better, and I haven't cut the little edges off of them yet. I always cut these things off just because they're more, I don't know, space. They work better in tight spaces. Get out of here. Oh, it's so much sharper. And because that's how I can tell whose flush cutters is whose as well. Chris, you stole my flush cutters. No. Yeah, you did. I cut the edges off. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I know I'm right. Okay. I'm really excited to be missing California Extreme, my favoriteest home pinball show. That's next weekend. So if any of y'all are in the Bay Area and you are 100% vaccinated and can prove it, go to California Extreme. It's the greatest show. It's smaller than it normally is, but you can go see all my old friends and Chris. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to do something I need to do just for completion's sake. I'm going to remove one of these fuse clips. That one looks shiny. Let's do this one.
We can't see it.
We're going to take this one. It feels okay. Just buy new ones. I forgot my parts box at home in my mad rush to leave the house this morning.
No, that was TJ. TJ had the pockets of infinite holding.
Oh yeah, those are incredible. My pants are too small. I don't wear cargo shorts. If I did, I would have pants of infinite holding, I'm sure. Put a little bit of pressure on the front of this fuse clip as I heat up the leads to pull it out of the board.
No, Colin, this is the greatest show on earth, right here.
Really?
Yep, this is it, man.
This is it.
This is all you have to look forward to forever.
Great. Well, now that I'll be your guide to eternity, we should get a little more intimate. I really, really, really like Pop-Tarts.
Oh, nice. Grumpy M Doctor will be teaching at CAX.
Excellent. Go learn from David.
Teching, my bad. If there are any EMs there. I'm sure he'll be doing a little bit of teaching as well in his own grumpy manner.
In a great manner. He's only grumpy when
you try and mess with him when he's working on games?
That's right. Honestly, I need to choose my words carefully. The thing I enjoy most about pinball shows and have enjoyed most about pinball shows is fixing the games. Like, honestly, I love going to pinball shows and meeting everyone and working, the booth at Marco and stuff like that. But man, there's nothing like just running around like a madman fixing everything that's not working, I really do miss that. I was very close to buying tickets to go back to California just to go to the show. I couldn't make it happen this year. Next year, though. This one does not want to come out.
Yeah, Dent 0123. That's my favorite thing about the shows is just meeting new people and seeing the people that I only get to see in person, once a year at the shows.
Come on. It's hard to hold something and then try to remove it from a board at the same time because like my flush cutters right now are also acting as a gigantic heat sink. And this is a big trace, so it's like a double whammy. I'm trying to heat up a huge trace. I'm heating up my flush cutters and the device I'm trying to pull out.
Absolutely, yeah. Pinball people run the gamut. I mean, you'll find somebody from every walk of life, from CEOs, CTOs to, programmers to techs to, just enthusiasts.
To punks, to drunks, yeah. To gardeners.
Punks, drunks, and gardeners, yeah.
Musicians, just weird people, man.
Yet they all wear cargo shorts, except for Kyle.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I don't think I own any cargo shorts either.
Yeah.
I don't really wear shorts, though.
Yeah. The only way I'll ever wear shorts is when my jeans get holes in them and then I cut the pants off. So I just always wear cutoffs. Sorry, this is weird, and I know I'm not really showing anything interesting, but I'm trying to pry a broken, corroded fuse clip out of the board without ripping things apart, and it's gross and awful.
I don't think there's any question that Kyle likes pinball machines more than people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a known.
I just like machines and things more than I like most people. Notwithstanding you guys rule, but when it comes to John Q. Public, it takes a lot out of me to be around those people, let me tell you. All right.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with cargo shorts.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm not cool enough to pull cargo shorts off. I'll be 100% honest. Cargo shorts rule. Okay, I'm going to flow some more solder in again to clean these holes out before I install my new used fuse clip. I feel so embarrassed doing this, but the show must go on.
Did you forget to get a fuse clip from the shop today?
I didn't know I needed it until I started looking at this. And of course, the one day when I'm still kind of within range to get home to get my stuff, but I've kind of gone far already. It's like, nah, I don't need to turn around. I don't need any of my parts. Okay. Hey, here's something fun. I remember very clearly installing fuse clips into a Data East power supply once. There is a direction. I'm going to point since we're not going to focus this camera. A fuse goes in here, right? It slides in. There's stoppers on the backside. So the fuse stops going in this far. I did unfortunately install a full set of fuse clips with them not paying attention to that. This was when I was very new. And you can't put fuses in when those things are facing the wrong way. So, you know, pay attention. I need my fiberglass brush because it is kind of corrody up here. And I haven't used my fiberglass brush in a while, so it's going to be buried.
Retro Gaming with Hopper, I'm with you, man. I'm not really into the short pants.
I would never wear shorts until I moved somewhere where every time I walked outside, I felt like I was in a sauna. So South Carolina has
changed your sense of fashion. Nolan, I believe it.
Just slightly. Where the heck is my... I have like 2 of them in here too, and I can't find it. Give me a sec.
Oh.
Is this turned into a fashion channel now?
Yeah, I mean, Obi's saying that the only cargo shorts that are acceptable are Dickies. That's it. Every other brand is unacceptable.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, maybe Obi is a cargo shorts enthusiast. I really have nothing to say to that.
And Nolan's like,
here it is.
You know, what is it about people that live in like cold climates that wear shorts all year round?
They're aspiring to something they can't have.
No, but I mean, Nolan says he's from Maine. They wear shorts all year round. Everybody I know from like, you know, Colorado Springs or, you know, the mountains of Colorado, they always wear shorts all year round as well.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess where I used to live, it's not cold all the time, but it's generally pretty nippy, and I find long pants to be the perfect thermal regulation.
Tilting T, I wouldn't listen to Obi, man. Not if you want useful advice.
Oh, shots fired. All right, let's get this sucker in here. Wow, this is like a whole rainbow of colors when it comes to fuse clips. This is beautiful.
Fall has arrived to San Francisco. Grumpy EM Doctor did not wear shorts today.
David likes shorts. I mean, fall in San Francisco really means nothing because to the rest of the world, it's always fall there. It's always 62 degrees. I'm using my soldering iron just to kind of heat the holes up a little bit so I can push this guy in nice and flush, which it now is. I'm going to tack it in here real quick, and then we are going to move on to phase 2 on this board, which is very simple, and it is just reflowing the solder. I just pushed it through the board. Got to be careful with that. Oop. There's not a lot to work with on the back, so I put a little bit too much heat and it just popped right through the board. So now that I've got one in there, I'm going to kind of put some pressure on it from the other side using a screwdriver and make sure it's seated flush. What?
That's the cutoff for Grumpy EM Doctor. When it's 62, shorts, 61, pants.
Ah. I miss that weather.
It is beautiful.
The most temperate climate. Oakland, California has the most temperate climate in the United States. I heard that somewhere. Like the maximum differential in temperature is the smallest anywhere. It's like lows of 50, common temperature, and like highs of, 80. So I don't have any flux remover either. So I think I might use some denatured alcohol and a paper towel for now. I have some flux cleaner at the office that I also forgot to bring. It's on my desk. Is this a 5 amp fuse? That is a weird value. That is a 7.5. Okay, so here, that's another really important thing we're going to do while we have this board on the bench. We are going to check the value of every single one of these fuses because
you cannot assume.
You can never assume. They're usually wrong.
I don't think that would go so well, Obi.
Is he starting to troll?
He said he wants you to use beer as flux.
That would get messy. That's a waste of good beer.
Yes, shorts do need to have pockets. 10, 0, 1, 2, 3. Shorts without pockets are underwear.
Yeah, absolutely. 0.75 amp. That looks like a 20, and if it's a 15, whatever, close enough. For that instance, and this looks like a 5 amp. So I'm going to yank it, double check. Can't read. I need to get new glasses, man.
Tilting T, we won't have a group presence at Expo, and Moto will be there shooting for Marco TV. Is Crystal going at all?
Yeah, I think so.
I think Crystal's going as well.
I think
so there'll be a couple people from Marco there, but we won't have a booth. We won't have an official presence. Because we've got 2 back-to-back shows after that, which is MGC and Houston. Which I'm really excited about Houston. That's the one I'm going to. Kyle's going to MGC. So I know he's thrilled about that. He's super excited.
Huh?
You're super excited about MGC?
Oh, yeah. I'm excited. It's going to be neat. I really want to go to Houston because that's my favorite show, but I'm really excited to go to MGC. Okay, we done what we need to do. Let us also, I'll try to clean some of this flux up. I guess also I kind of want to cut some of these leads a little closer. I'm going to cut them towards the ground so they fall onto the carpet to be vacuumed up.
Dent also said if this was his board, he would check those fuses with a meter before he put them back in, just because you can't see that a fuse is blown by observing it sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to be surprised. So the next thing we want to do is get in here and.
Keith is amazing, man. He does put on an amazing show every year.
So awesome.
Gandalf himself, man.
He is so awesome. What I will normally say is it's usually the outside pins that are cracked by the way that you generally will rock a connector out of its place. So just for giggles, I'm just going to go around and, you know what? In lieu of doing unnecessary work, I'm going to look at them. And let's see if any of these are cracked, because if they aren't, let's just put it back in.
We'll just out the loop.
Put it in the game. Yeah, get my magnification going here. Okay, so those ones on the outside don't look super happy, but they're not bad.
So what are you looking for when you're looking for a bad solder joint?
What you're looking for is the actual like mound of solder to have a very clear disconnect from the pin, which you can see very clearly. We've actually focused the camera with my jeweler's loop on these things before.
Do you remember what game we were doing when we did that?
I have no idea, man.
It's a Bally game. It wasn't Strikes and Spares, was it?
I don't remember. I really don't. It might have been. But anywho, you can find plenty of pictures of that on PinWiki and stuff like that. So if you want to see what a really bad cracked solder joint looks like, you can find them on the internet. But what you'll see is a jagged edge around the pin.
And the pin standing free from the solder, right?
Yes, you have very poor connectivity between the solder, which transmits the juice that needs to flow through the pins, and you have flaky connections, and it can be bad. So doing this on a lot of circuit boards will definitely solve a lot of your issues. When we get to the point where we take the displays out of this game, we will see that.
Grumpy EM Doctor with a great visual. Look for a volcano with a moat.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, a moat. That's exactly what they look like. Sometimes, and honestly, like I would recommend everyone get a jeweler's loupe or something, because sometimes you can see those volcanoes with the moat very clearly, right? But sometimes you'll find like teeny little fissures that you would not be able to see without help.
Daniel says, just reflow all the solder joints on the board, Kyle.
I could, but I want to get to other things.
With a crying, laughing emoji.
Yeah, the crying. That's my favorite emoji, because that's how I feel like in every day of my waking life.
I like the one that tilts a little bit, the raffle one. Right?
Yeah. Those were the only ones that were really bad for whatever reason. So quickly here. I mean, and the real proper way is to remove all of the old solder and then apply all new solder. But, I won't fault you for just going in and remelting the solder and adding a little bit more. Something like that. Sometimes you'll see arguments going both ways. Like, you don't want to introduce new solder to old solder because it won't make a good connection. And then I can also see a bunch of people arguing and saying, like, that's ridiculous. That really makes no difference whatsoever. I'm not that smart, so I really can't speak on it. I usually will suck the old stuff away and add some new stuff.
That's the one, Hopper.
Oh yeah, that's the best
That's
one.
my most used emoji, probably. That and the thumbs up, because that's like you don't have to type anything.
Yeah, that's the excuse.
You're just like, I got it. It's cool.
I don't really use emojis. We both grew up in the era where we had to make our own emojis using symbols.
Yeah,
so like,
true.
I still use like /_/ for my normal mood. Oh crap! You know what? My heatsink paste is in my box of parts.
And your box of parts is at home.
Yep, so we won't be reinstalling this. We will be doing that next week. Let me give you some advice on this. We'll go over it again when we actually install this.
First piece of advice is to bring your heatsink
Oh my God,
paste.
bring all your parts. You never ever leave without everything you need. But just like, I don't know if any of you all build computers. I'm an avid PC builder as well. But when you do use heatsink paste, a lot of the times less is more. You don't want to put a big old glob around this entire thing. You want to put a very thin line around these heat sinks. Or sometimes you'll see people applying it to the actual heat, the actual heat sink at the bottom of the game instead of here. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll put teeny dots in each corner. Something maybe the size of a grain of rice or smaller. And then when this gets pressed up against the heat sink, it'll spread out and make a good coverage. And again, what the heatsink paste does is it just helps create a nice solid connection between this and whatever plate it's up against to dissipate the heat well. So, aside from removing the flux, this is probably going to be okay. It was probably okay and would have worked before we messed with it. But it's always good to do the preventative things while you have everything in front of you.
So what do the other groups say when you use Kyle's emoji?
Oh God.
Anything? I'm just curious.
Who's that strange looking thing, guy?
Yeah, I mean, you could use PC thermal paste, right? Same stuff.
Same thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Use your Arctic silver or whatever that thermal take stuff is called. I really want to build a new PC. I wish that cryptocurrency and all that crap wasn't real, so graphics cards didn't go crazy high in price.
Is that why they're so expensive?
It's one of the reasons, yeah.
Interesting. Oh, because people need them to mine currency. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I usually build a new gaming desktop every like 4 or 5 years, and it's about year 6 now. And it's still fine. Everything's just fine and dandy, but it would be nice to have a new computer. All right, I'm happy with that. It looks lovely. It looks gross. I wish I had an ultrasonic cleaner and I could clean it, but, you know.
It's a patina. It's the patina.
Yeah, you know, dirt. Let's work on another board. How much time do we have?
We still have about an hour left. Yep.
Great. That's the perfect amount of time to start working on something else. We're going to work... What?
Obi says, they are very confused when I use it, but folks have come to expect nothing but nonsense from me.
Huh. Who is that person?
Rebel Dog says he feels your pain with regards to building a new pewter.
It's annoying.
I am going to run off camera for a second.
Bye, Steve.
Very professional.
We're super professional here. We've got crazy good camera angles today. I haven't forgotten equipment. What else have we done perfectly? I haven't sworn yet. I guess the only time I haven't sworn in a long time, except for last week. Last week was the first time I've sworn in quite some time, so I apologize. All of your virgin ears were bleeding, I know it. We're going to work on the solenoid driver board. With both of these boards serviced, that puts you in the place where it is okay. And you will be able to turn the game on and hopefully have very solid, reliable power. Again, I haven't ever turned this game on. I usually will not turn my old Bally games on until I have done both of these services. So, let's see. I'm going to hydrate myself here. I'm going to drink water. And then I'm going to drink some Sprite.
How's that Sprite, Kyle?
That Sprite is
so refreshing.
Really good. A pewter.
Elden
Ring
wants to build a water-cooled PC for you.
My next computer will be water-cooled. And I will reach out for some tips. Let's do it. I'll bring it up. I really wanted to do just one of those, like, the closed-loop systems, right? The ones that have, like, the little small radiator and everything built in. But one of my best pal just built a full water-cooled system, and it was just crazy looking. So expensive, but the processor is probably cold to the touch. What is Elden Ring, Nolan? I'm not sure what that is. Colin wants us to hydrate. You can drink beer, you'll be faster then. Yeah, you're right. All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to replace my Sprite with another one. Someone asked what we're doing to this board. Yes, we are going to do exactly what we did to the board that we did on Strikes and Spares. Just again, I want to use and be able to reference Vector as like a full Bally kind of video walkthrough. So
the water was dyed red, and it looked like his computer was bleeding.
Heck yeah! Oh, dude, if I was gonna do a water cooled setup, I would want to make the coolant red too. That would be super cool.
Let's, as a group, suggest other projects for Kyle that require stuff that he didn't bring today.
Oh God, that wouldn't be hard. Okay, well, hey, check it out. I brought everything I need to go do a first pass over on this board. This is the greatest board. I love it. It's so easy to work on. It's single-sided. It doesn't really have problems that can't be fixed quite easily, which what we're going to do now. This is the Solenoid driver board. This board takes in unregulated DC voltage from the board we just worked on and will regulate it in one or two cases and then send it off to other boards. We get a regulated 12 volts, or I'm sorry, an unregulated 12 volts from the Rectifier board, which then gets transformed into 5 volts via this regulator here. We get a unregulated 230 volts DC, which then gets regulated here for your high voltage for the displays. The components we are going to replace involve both of those circuits. This large capacitor here is the filter capacitor for the 12 volts that goes into this regulator, which gets turned into 5. Big problem on these boards is this capacitor dries up, it fails, and the only reason we really replace it all the time is because when it starts to fail, it's very noticeable. Your game doesn't work. This kind of, think of it as a water tower. It holds a good supply of that unregulated 12 volt to feed a steady supply to this, which will then feed a steady 5 volts to the rest of the game. If this thing starts to have an erratic supply of that 12 volts, this will start to become erratic, which will make your game not work. We're also going to replace the filter capacitor here on the displays. Most of the time, almost all of the time, I will not replace this capacitor. They're kind of pricey for the voltage that it is set to. They use a 350 volt capacitor, which means the ceiling is it will operate well up to 350 volts. But if this thing goes bad, the only thing that'll happen is your displays won't work. And if it's starting to go bad, you'll never ever notice it. So most of the time I will not replace this unless I really have to. I've only ever seen one bad where this was the culprit as to why the displays were not working. You won't be able to see that unless you have an oscilloscope to watch the ripple of the voltage coming in and out. But I'm going to do it now just because I wanted to kill time on the show and because we might as well just do all of them. So the other capacitor we're going to replace is this little guy. It is also in the 12 volt circuit. I have also seen this fail before and cause the game to not work. So this is a capacitor that I do replace every time now when I service these boards. The other thing we will replace while we're in here is this 25,000 ohm pot that will regulate the high voltage system. Pots get dirty. There's a wiper that in one position it will offer low resistance, and in the other position it will offer the full range of 25,000 ohms. They can get dirty and not work right. The reason we're replacing it is because this is how you regulate the high voltage to the displays. You can turn the high voltage down to about 190 volts, and that will prolong the life of your gas plasma displays by a long time. So that's why we're going to do that. There are other pieces of equipment, diodes and resistors, that can go open on the high voltage circuit, which can cause this pot to also not do anything. But while we have it out, just replace that pot, and then you can come back in and address the issues. That's what I'm going to do. I also brought this small, this long 0.156 connector just in case this was tarnished. This is the most important connector on this board. When these pins start to tarnish, they don't carry voltages as well, right? You get voltages coming in and out on this connector, so it is very crucial that it's in good shape. This is in good shape. Every board in this game is in extraordinarily good shape, thankfully. So the other connector here, this is for data coming into the board to tell this, or to have the electronics fire solenoids. This is paths to solenoid, and this is for the flippers, basically. The only thing that happens on this, I believe, is voltage in and out and signals for the flipper. So, sorry, I'm flapping my gums a lot. Let's start working. Less talking, more doing. Let's replace the big capacitor first. Does this angle suck? Like, should we use the other camera, or is it better to have everything close? Like, should I be moving the camera more? Is this better? Something like this, maybe? He said pot instead of potentiometer. I did. I also said something earlier that I thought people would make fun of me for, but I don't even remember what it was. But no one called me out. Y'all got to call me out more. Old zip ties, get rid of those. Okay, so the capacitor installed here. These blue ones are notorious for being trash also. This is a 11,000 microfarad capacitor rated for 20 volts. I'm going to replace it with a 15,000 volt microfarad, 15,000 volt, 15,000 microfarad capacitor rated for 32 volts. So we've exceeded both requirements here. We're going to be okay.
That's awesome.
What's up?
He's got all original boards in his vector that are all in amazing shape.
Who?
Dave's think tank.
Good. I love all original Bally boards. You can definitely replace the computer and never lose points.
Is the top bulging on that one at all?
I don't think so.
Rebel Dog says it looks like it is on the camera. It must just be the angle.
Yeah, it's just the angle. It's fine. We can measure it. I have a capacitance meter here. So in this instance, since I know in this circuit that this capacitor we are replacing is just a filter, the capacitance is okay to go over. It's okay to replace a 11 or 12,000 microfarad capacitor with a 15,000. In other circuits that are more picky, you might not be able to take the same liberties. We can definitely replace this capacitor with one that is rated for a higher voltage because that's what that number means. It is good up until that voltage. If I put a capacitor good for 5 volts in this circuit, it would explode. If I put one rated for 250 volts in here, it would be just fine. So you can go over on voltage all the time, and you can sometimes go over on capacitance. On this one, we absolutely can.
Dent, he has no feeling in any of his fingertips. So.
Yeah. Years of playing bass and years of working on motorcycles and years of burning my nerve endings off will do that to you. Capacitors are marked. These snap capacitors, this one in particular, it has the negative band very clearly facing one of the 2 terminals. From handling all those pots. You caught me, man. You're in a normal TV sitcom, I think the appropriate reaction would just be a wink. What I did here was I added a little bit of solder to the ends of the leads on this capacitor, and then added a little bit to these wires, and what that is doing is just allowing these to come together very quickly and easily. If I was trying to solder something that was naked to something that had some solder on it, it would be a little harder to connect. Looks nice. Usually when I do this, I try to dress the capacitor nicely, so we will pull these leads down.
I thought you were going to pull out a little top hat, a bow tie or something.
Not fancy. I said nice, not fancy. I'd like to leave, just to show, if I ever sold this game or if I die tomorrow and someone needs to get rid of it, someone can see that I did this right. We've got negative here. The language is facing up. It just looks nicer.
Kyle, he was not a Cletus.
I think the thing we need to take away from the Cletus phenomena is you need to learn when being Cletus is okay and when you can be made fun of for being Cletus. And I just Cletused that fuse holder right there. I'm surprised no one was calling me out on that.
Grumpy EM Doctor says his discomfort holding a wire is how he knows it's hot enough when soldering. He doesn't like using tools because they tend to ruin plastic insulation.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's another thing. And it just looks, it looks so much cleaner when the wire's not halfway melted.
Dent, the new capacitor is actually a higher rating than the original unit. It's just the change in materials that have been used to make capacitors over the years allow us to do more with smaller packages now.
Yeah, absolutely. It also just depends on manufacturer, too.
Obi is cracking me up today, man.
That guy is on fire.
His epitaph will read, "Your EM points are meaningless."
Wow. Just carve a bent screwdriver onto my grave and I'll be fine. This guy liked bent screwdrivers. What a weirdo. Cut your zip ties flush. You're not a monster. You don't want to cut yourself with a zip tie. It's very degrading. 1, down, easy. Let's replace this one over here. We definitely are also needing to look for cracked solder on these 0.100 connectors as well. On this guy, I'm going to cut one end of it. I'm going to grab that cut end. I'm going to do this outside of the camera view. Oh, here. Yeah, I can. You can see my thank you to all the fine people at Spooky Pinball for this rad Spooky Pinball t-shirt. No ad, just love. What I'm doing is I'm holding the lead and then I'm heating up the back of the connection here, and that allows me just to yank the component out without any fuss.
Daniel says his fingers and hands are also full of burning and scars from working on cars and motorcycles.
Yeah, you sacrifice your body for that dollar.
That's what happened to your body? No, I'm just kidding. Your body's fine.
Is it?
Yeah, you're great, man. Look at you.
That's right. I'm just fat. All those grits and pork loins will do that to you. I should be a vegetarian again. Just eat grits.
But then you couldn't enjoy all the fine southern food we have in this state.
That's true. That's true. I won't be able to enjoy it long once I continue getting fat. Anyways, aside from being fat, let's look at this axial capacitor here. This is an axial capacitor because the leads come out either side. So think about it as the, oh, hey, can you use this camera?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, gotcha.
Sounded like an ad to me. Get out of here. Think about Fred Flintstone's car, right? Those big old round cylinder wheels. You've got axles on either side. That's the way I always remember axial versus radial.
Good device there.
Yeah. Axial capacitors are also marked. You've got arrows with a negative symbol pointing one way. And generally, your axial capacitor will also have a groove at one end of the can. This might be hard to see, but that grooved side also indicates the positive end. So we can see here on the circuit board that I have a big plus right there. That is the side where the plus needs to go for this capacitor. I'm going to try to give it a, measure it up, look, try to pre-bend a nice 90-degree corner into the leads. And 50% of the time you get it right, 50% of the time it looks like crap. And this time I did an okay job. Ta-da! It looks like we were never there. Now we just need to solder it. And we'll move on to the last capacitor. And then we'll get the pot. Pot, meaning potentiometer. I've used the phrase GI also. GI is general illumination. I don't like abbreviations. I'm sorry, but I didn't catch myself there a few times.
Do you always use flux?
I only use flux when I really need to get something like old, unsoldered, cleanly and quickly. I don't need to use flux when I'm working with like a teeny pad like that stuff there, you know. What?
GI pot FTW.
This guy, he's on fire. Well, okay, I guess that's one way to take it off. Get out of here. Okay, we got a couple more zippies to cut.
When you make mistakes, then capacitor goes boom.
Oh yeah.
That's Daniel Carr.
I did that on my friend Steve's firepower power supply a couple months ago. It made a big sizzle and boom. Here, you can kind of see what I'm doing on both sides now. Da-da-da. Oh, turn the ring light off. Always double check just in case it doesn't have a plus. This one does, so you can make sure the polarity of the capacitor is right. But instead of trying to suck the solder out first, it makes more sense to just remove the component.
Potentiometers are indeed legal here, yes.
As backwards as South Carolina is, potentiometers are legal. You need a license to buy them, though. I'm going to suck away the solder here real quick. The reason I really like working on this board, I did mention that I use the term single-sided. All of the traces on this board are on one side of the board instead of leading through the top. When you're working with double-sided boards, the ability to damage them is higher. You can rip out fillets, which is the conductive bit that goes in between the board from the top of the trace to the bottom trace. And that can be problematic. You'll have worse or bad conductivity in that circuit at that point, or you might actually absolutely destroy something, which can be problematic as well.
You want to angle the camera down a little so we can see what you're doing there, buddy?
You don't want to see my chest?
I love your chest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd rather look at the board, to be honest with you.
Wow. Wow. I think this capacitor I'm installing is also kind of, it's not overkill. This one is Factory is 160 microfarads at 350 volts. This is 160 at 350 as well. So got the positive side and the right side. I should have centered that better. That's going to bother me if I don't. Welcome to Kyle's obsessive compulsive disorder. Everything needs to be even. Excellent. Now we just rotate it a little so I can read what the capacitor says. Oh man, it's perfect. It's like a professional did it. This capacitor is kind of weird, so I'm going to zip tie it. It's just kind of heavy. I'll throw the zip tie on now to hold it in place while I solder. Da, 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 da. So I'm sure all of y'all are thinking, what time is it?
Yeah, looking at 4:15.
Oh, wow. We've flown through this.
We have. It's been a lot of fun.
Good. Well, we'll talk about Godzilla later.
Nice.
We'll talk all about that big giant lizard. Okay, I'm gonna cut this nice and flush. Now you can't cut yourself. So nice. Gonna make that look nice as well. Fold these up a teeny bit. Okay, I'm gonna solder this sucker in as well, and then we'll get the pot out.
Colin wants to know if the cap is lopsided, will there be more power on one side?
Oh man, your capacitance will be all over the place. I'm sad we won't actually be able to turn it on. I mean,
Don't risk it, man.
we kind of can, but we shouldn't, but we can, but...
Right, I mean, you know, it's not whether you can, it's whether you should, right?
Yeah, exactly. What was that character's name in the movie? Ian Malcolm?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I don't know why I remember that. I can't remember. I can barely remember my mom's birthday, but I can remember who Jeff Goldblum played in Jurassic Park.
I mean, yeah, we could talk about Godzilla's shading if you really want to, but I think there's been enough said about that on the rest of the pinball internet.
Yeah, we try to be different than the rest of the pinball internet because the rest of the pinball internet is not nearly as cool as we are. So,
Yes, Grumpy EM Doctor is absolutely correct.
what do you say?
Is that all of today's work is going so fast because we can't yet put the boards back in the game and then track down the mistakes.
There is no mistakes here. Famous last words.
We'll figure that out next week or the week after, right?
Well, honestly, I mean, in all honesty, I don't expect there to be any mistakes here because these boards are in nice condition. I'm not having to repair anything. And doing just, you know, these fixes, these are very basic, simple things to do. And I've done these bazillions of times. And generally, that's when you start making mistakes. But these are very simple component swap outs. What we're going to do is we're going to have a headache when we need to get in there and see if the computer boots up. That's honestly what I'm most worried about. It looks clean. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't, and we'll probably be pleasantly surprised.
Mr. J.M. Rainwater says, repair my broken heart next.
Oh man!
And thank you for being so hospitable to me and my brothers last weekend, Josh. That was an amazing time. They really enjoyed it. So thank you for that.
Mr. J.M. Rainwater, if I could repair your broken heart, I'd probably be doing something other than pinball right now. People would be like paying me to solve their relationship issues or something. So the potentiometer we sell to replace the old one is, I think this is the only way you can get them now. I prefer this old style because they are easier to manipulate. The actual footprint is also correct, but since this is a 40-year-old part, it's not standard anymore. The footprint of the one we sell is a little bit bigger, and you can make it work. You just have to make sure that you're not crossing the legs at all. So you're going to need to force them in a teeny bit. It's not going to be able to mount totally flush, but rest assured, as long as you are gentle, it will be totally fine and nothing to worry about. I am going to bend a leg over a little bit to help it hold it in place. I'll do actually all three of the legs and bend them just a teeny bit. And this pot, again, I'll show you in the schematic once we get the once I get it soldered in really quick, and I'll show you what that did. I'll show you actually kind of all what we did here.
Dent, as of right now, I would say that surface mount stuff isn't serviceable by the average person, but who knows in 5 to 10 years, right?
Maybe.
I mean, and when these were produced, they weren't serviceable by the average person.
Yeah. Everyone was all scared. How am I supposed to fix a computer? What the heck you tell me to do? But now,
I mean, can you imagine when the solid state started coming out and all the EM guys were like, how am I supposed to fix this stuff?
Yeah, it's the end of the world. Pinball's over. This is all disposable now. All right. Soldered that in. Oh, you changed the camera.
Oh, my bad.
No, that's cool. That's
Change
cool.
it back.
No, don't even worry about it.
Cool.
I'm going to leave the pot in the center. It's the same range. Again, if I adjusted the pot all the way one direction, the displays would be super dim. If I adjusted them all the way the other direction, they'd be super bright. But that is within the range of how it's supposed to work. What I like to do is I like to adjust the displays down to about 180 to 190 volts. And that will prolong their life. They're a teeny bit dimmer, but it will make them last longer. Not forever, but longer. This is a really nice board. I'm really happy that everything other than the playfield on this game is like perfect. The playfield's really awful. When I got, it looks nice, but man, is it crispy. I lost a little bit of artwork in a couple places when I was novicing. I forgot my wax today to try to keep juicing it up, but I'm definitely going to. I'm going to Mylar this game for certain.
Awesome old school EMs. You got to nip it.
Oh, I love some Nip It. Nip It's a great game. I'll probably Mylar it off camera just because I need to not be distracted. Especially on a game that is this screwed up, you really have one chance to get that Mylar down. There's no peely backs because once I peely it back, there's all that paint's going to go along with it. So, okay, that's great. I'm great. I'm so perfect. I didn't make a single mistake, except for forgetting all the important stuff.
He's got a still in the woods for sure.
I wish I had a still.
What was that weird? What was it? A Williams game? Still crazy?
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah. Weird, like
vertical. It's like
kind
just
of
just the back box of NBA Fast Break.
Yeah.
Added stuff.
That is funny. I didn't think about that. Okay, so this connector definitely has some cracked solder. And again, that comes from the stresses of unplugging and replugging the connector. That bends the pins a little bit in their housing, and since it's all very rigid, it just starts to crack and break itself loose. So I'm going to unsolder like the first 4 pins on each side, and this desk is falling apart. I'll unsolder the first couple pins and then resolder them, and everything will be good. We're going to add a patch wire to this as well. Bally, I'm going to redundantize it, but Bally addressed this issue in later games. This is really important to do on earlier games, like pre-1980 games. Your 5 volts is here. This goes back out to like the 6 pins or 5 pins that this is connected to goes back out to like every other board in the game and feeds it 5 volts. This pin is also 5 volts. And this is used only for the devices on this board. What are you laughing at?
Opie and Colin are talking about how you're turning into a Southerner, how you're turning into a South Carolinian. And they said, yeah, he's making his own moonshine. And they said, I'm just waiting for him to spit some chaw. And then Opie says, in the Carolinas, you eat your chew. Spitting is for Yankees.
Oh, it is. we don't like Yankees.
Oh, we love everybody.
We love everybody. We don't dislike anyone. We love everybody. No, I can't ever really be a true South Carolinian because I won't have the accent. I won't say bubs and coals and there's a very unique drawl to some of the accents down here, which are very humorous sometimes, but I can't laugh. But when people call and say, I need some of them 44 bulbs, like, what? What is that? You know, light bulbs. Oh, I see.
He's not exaggerating.
I need a coal for my Matty Harry pinball machine.
Matty Hardy.
Matty Hardy.
That's not just Southerners, though. I mean, we hear Baileys from all around the world, right?
Yeah. Oh, I just really love
Bailey's Matty Hardy.
I really just love the bulbs and the coals, though. That's my favorite bit of goofiness in the accent. All right. Just suck a little bit of that solder away.
Josh wants to know why installing VRAM on 80s, 90s Williams is so hard, and where can he learn the dark arts?
You can learn it from me, and it's hard because they never socketed it, which makes it difficult. And the other reason it's difficult, and the reason you're asking, is because your F14 uses a strange type of RAM, which is not a 6264. I think it's a 6116. Where like my roller games uses a 6116, but it's jumperable to a 6264, meaning I can put the very cheap common NVRAM in and just change one jumper, where on your game we need to get a different, more expensive NVRAM, which also involves unsoldering the original RAM and socketing it, and it's just a pain in the butt. On your Star Wars has a socketed RAM, so all we need to do is unplug the old one, plug the new one in, and it's good to go. What is this grievous interruption?
He says he thinks it's a 42069.
Who did?
Josh.
You're wrong. You're wrong. It's a... Well, actually, I might be wrong. It is a 42069. Get out of here. Get out of here. You know what? Hold on. I lost my train of thought.
Yes, you do hear that a lot. You're not from around here, are you? Yeah.
No, people never ask that because they know I'm not from around.
They just instantly know you're not from around here. Yeah.
You know, it's not necessarily the accent either, because I've
heard it quite a bit. You know, going out and talking to people, they'll be like, it's never a mean thing. It's like, where are you from?
Yeah, it's more curious.
I can tell you're not from around here. Yeah.
There's also a lot of South Carolina people that I've met that grow up in different places that don't have that accent, but it's mannerisms that are different, right? Like, out of sign of respect, like, I will just be kind to people in California, but I won't necessarily call people ma'am or sir. But here, if you know, that everyone is from a very young age, they're taught to talk to other elders, sir, ma'am, and now I've learned to do that, so I'm assimilating.
Yeah, I still do it. I do it to people younger than me. Yeah.
So let's get back to the 5-volt thing really quick. My brain is all over the place.
Oh, you're fine, man. I'm sorry.
The 5 volts comes out here. The 5 volts 5 volts for this board is here. There is a trace, a patch one of these wires, jumpers somehow down to this pin. I don't remember where they did it, but it's somewhere. Maybe it's through this resistor. I don't remember. Anyways, maybe they changed the design. Either way, since this is an end pin, and the end pins are the ones that generally crack, in some cases you can have this board not do anything because it's lacking the 5 volts to run all of the chips that control how these work. So, and the wiring harness, there is a wire that jumps from this position over to this position. I'm also going to include a wire on the bottom side of the board to really solidify that connection and run a patch wire from this batch of wires around down to this pin. It's a simple modification that takes very little time to do, and it ensures no problems. Now go ahead and...
They're making it so hard for me to stay on track, man.
I know, it's hard. It's so funny.
I like roller pinball. Listen here, bub.
Yeah, listen here, bub.
That's what they say when they're trying to get the bulb out of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, vorts. When I talk English, you will know that I'm not from here also. You know,
can't wait to get you here, though, Daniel. That'd be amazing. Man.
Yeah, come visit South Carolina.
Hey, Fliptronic, good to have you.
Whoa, Fliptronic's here. Wait, where'd my box of wires go? Hold on, I'm off camera.
I don't know what Kyle's doing.
I'm trying to find my giant wiring harness that I cut wires off of that someone moved. Hold on. This is what happens when people mess with my stuff. I need to open up I need to have my own little repair shop, so then...
What's all that, there's some wire over there, dude.
Where?
Over on the table. Just some random scraps.
Yeah, I had an old, like, crappy Miss Pac-Man harness that I've been cutting apart forever. Yeah, this works. All right. Okay. We're going to really quickly run this patch wire. Bally solved all of the weird problems with the electronics, or most of the weird problems with the electronics by this time.
Sup, Tiki Tilt? Thanks for coming, man.
Tiki Tilt. I love that name. You should start a clothing line. Good friend in Germany, Andy, at Loose Flip, he has a really cool Tiki Flip t-shirt he designed that I really like. Tiki and pinball are my favorite aesthetics.
Are you ready for Expo, Kyle?
I guess so. I'm not going, so I'm pretty ready. I would like to go to Pinball Expo one day. I'm not sure how I'll fare in Chicago, though. It seems like too much.
No, it's great. Oh, Fliptronic's super upset, man.
Why?
That you're not going to Expo.
I'm
upset
upset
like
too.
No with like 10 O's.
I'm sorry, man. I gotta... They got my nose to the fire. I gotta work, man. I'm jealous that you get to go to the U.S. Grand Prix.
Oh, so cool.
So let me come. You know, I want to go to Austin next year, but I'd rather go to Miami because it's closer, and it's going to be the first time that they're racing in Miami. So you should come to Miami.
I'll be in Houston, Fliptronic, but Kyle got conscripted to go to MGC, which is the previous weekend to Houston.
Yeah, so actually, here's what you need to do. Don't go to Expo. Or no, here's what you need to do. You need to go to Expo and then stay, and then go
Hop on
to
over to MGC.
And go to MGC.
Yeah.
I wish I was going to Houston. That's where I met y'all a couple years ago, and that's my favorite show outside of my Golden State Pinball Festival, California Extreme Love Affair, but I'm so sad that I'm not going to Houston. Emoto did it just to spite me because she knows that I love that show so much, so since she wanted to make me upset and uncomfortable, so that's why she did it.
Well, I think I only asked for 2 shows this year, and that was one of them. So I think I superseded you. I apologize.
No, you didn't. It's all Emoto. It's not you. She just wants to see me squirm. Chicago can be a scary place. See?
Oh, dope. Roller Pinball's going to put on a Roller Games costume for Expo since it's Halloween.
Sweet.
Is it going to be Leather Daddy?
I hope you're Leather Daddy. There's a dude that lives here in Columbia that actually looks exactly like that guy on Roller Games with the leather vest and the whip. Man, I wish I could show you this because there's a lot of really good cracked
cute.
solder here.
Fliptronic says he's thinking he's going to dress up as a pinball flipper, and Becca would wear a dolphin costume, and they will be a pair of flippers.
That's pretty hilarious.
I like it.
I really like that. Or you're just cosplaying the worst pinball machine of all time, Chicago Coins Dolphin?
Nolan, it's not because we hate Yankees.
What? No, I love Yankees.
No one ever mentions Pentastic.
Well, I've just never, the furthest north I've ever been, since I don't even know what a Yankee is. I've only been to Pennsylvania.
Colin, I'm so jealous, man. I really wish I could have made it.
Oh yeah,
Especially
Colin
since
got
you
to
were
go to
saying that might be one of
VFW.
the last ones.
That's pretty cool, man. I saw he posted a lot of pictures in our Discord channel, and it looked really neat. I'm sad that I didn't get to go. So right now, again, quickly, I'm just going through and sucking the old solder off of these connectors that had very broken pins. And I'm going to add new solder. I am excited because at MGC we are going to do like a live Pintech live.
which will be kind of fun. We're just gonna like take a game and rebuild the flippers on it or something like that, which will be kind of neat in teaching people to do other or something, you know, in person. What?
Dent says Yankee is a term to describe people that live north of the Mason-Dixon line. And if you don't know where that is, you're probably a Yankee.
Huh, yeah, that's pretty fun.
And we use the sweet tea line instead of the Mason-Dixon line.
Oh, yeah.
It's how far north you can go and still get sweet tea at a restaurant.
Well, I think it's how far you can go, and when you order iced tea, they bring you sweet or not sweet tea. Right? Like, if you went to any restaurant...
Pennsylvania, you can't even get sweet tea. They give you a glass of unsweetened tea and some sugar.
Really?
Like it's going to melt in your cold
That's
tea.
disgusting. That's barbaric. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's funny because like when I first moved here, when I would ask for sweet tea, I would say, "Can I have, you know," or when I would ask for iced tea, you know, you just get it sweet. Right. You have to specify you don't want it with 10 grams of sugar per half of a cup.
Which is the best way to drink it.
Oh, it's so good. But hence my expanding waistline, you know.
What? The sweet tea line is all the way on the Canadian border?
I don't know about that. In Canada, they probably put like syrup in their tea or something. They'd do it all weird. I'm sure that would actually be pretty good.
Yes, diabetes tea. Exactly.
Yeah, you know. You sweat it all out as soon as you leave the restaurant, so it doesn't count. Okay, let's talk about Godzilla, because I really have nothing interesting to add about repairing cracked solder. There are multiple Godzilla pros at the office right now. We do have a Godzilla to do a show on, as we've done previously with other new Stern games. The plan is, with the Godzilla setup, is we are going to actually stream Godzilla 2 times and do 2 interviews with different sets of Stern people. This was my brilliant idea. Emoto unnecessarily punishes me by not letting me go to Houston Arcade Expo. While I still come up with wonderful ideas. It's a true shame. But the first one we're going to do is we are going to look at the Pro, but we are most likely going to do this show, most likely, nothing in stone. We're probably going to do it with George Gomez. And we're going to talk about the Insider Connect stuff, which is super cool. And then the next show we will do will be more akin to what we were doing previously, where we will actually have a pro, and we'll probably sit down with Keith and Harrison Drake, the engineer, to talk about the whole game. I think it'll be more interesting. Again, I've never played any of the games, but the premium has so much more going on. So I think it'll be really fun to look at the premium.
We're going to be talking to George?
I think so.
Really? Okay.
I mean, that's who we asked for.
All right.
We might not get George. If we ask for George and we get someone else, that's fine. But, you know, George is definitely, you know, a very powerful, creative, you know, energy at Stern.
Yeah, we do have to be on good behavior.
When?
When George is on.
Why?
I mean, I don't know. George, Obi wants to ask him a bunch of awkward questions.
No, we will not ask them. We are going to only ask the good ones. No. Yeah, we're going to be on good behavior. We're always on good behavior because we appreciate them giving us games and continually making us games and letting us talk to them and make this content. That's just different than other people do. You know, there's a lot of neat stories behind a lot of this stuff that you can't get, you know, that's different from like a gameplay stream, so.
Daniel's got some big tasks this weekend. He's got to start working on his fishtails and help change the timing belt on his neighbor's car. It's a French Renault Kangoo? I don't know how to pronounce that. Kangoo?
Where is it?
Not sure. French Renault Kangoo.
That's cool. It's probably a take on kangaroo, but they just spelt it wrong because they're French. Sorry, French people. I love you.
And George could crush us like a bug. He could make us disappear.
He would. Uh-oh. Hydrate. Yes, sir. Okay, so I've got really dirty hands, but we've completed the job.
I'm very pleased with us. And it's late enough where I don't want to take any more boards out, so let's just sit and chat.
Dang, Rebel Dog, I want some of your sweet tea. That sounds amazing.
I could go for some tea right now. Go for a nice big old cup with a delicious, gigantic cheeseburger from... Okay, hey, if any of y'all want to salivate, since y'all are probably on the computer, go to Facebook or Instagram or something and look up Transmission Arcade in Columbia, South Carolina. And take a look at the cheeseburger that they're serving right now. I'm a little skeptical because the cheeseburger that they're replacing was probably the best cheeseburger I've ever had in my entire life. But this thing looks insane. Oh, did I screw up? Oh, I done goofed. I pinched a wire under the board. There's like too much cheese on this cheeseburger, and you know, like when you go...
That's not possible.
Well, no, that's what I was going to say. He's like, you know when you go to a restaurant and they're like, they bring out like the big old thing of Parmesan cheese and they're like, would you like cheese on your pasta? And they're like, say when, and they sit there and they're going like, and you're just sitting there with your arms back watching that pile grow. Like that's exactly the right amount of cheese on a cheeseburger. But it looks insane. So, you know what? I might just go there after work. Nah, I have to go make food with my family. I'm gonna replug this sucker in and we're gonna have great results without a single failure, because I've learned that if I pretend to put positivity in the world, sometimes that might do something. So we'll see. Ta-da! All right. I've made a mess.
Cool. So we've got some time for Q&A now.
Yeah, some good old BSing and hanging out, and you know.
I am excited about Godzilla though.
Yeah, me too.
You know, growing up watching the movies and even the cartoon was really fun, right? And I think they don't they have a Godzuki mode in there?
I think so. I mean, he's represented on the, or they, who knows? Maybe Godzillas don't have genders, but they are represented on the artwork. So I have a feeling that it might make an appearance.
Cool.
Hey, I'm gonna wash my hands so I can touch things like my face. I'll be right back.
Will you grab me one of those
Sprites?
Yeah.
Yeah.
While you're in there. You guys are great, man. I mean, I love Thursdays because I laugh so much and learn a lot too, but mainly the laughing. I'll ask him when he gets back, Colin. Roller pinball. I will talk to Emoto about that. Hopefully soon. We're getting some swag items prepared. And hopefully before too long you will be able to redeem your channel points for that swag.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're trying to work on that. Emoto constantly tells me, Kyle, you need to stream more.
Time to stretch. Internet clowns, here for your amusement.
We're e-clowns here. All right. Yeah, man, after actually seeing about how much money all my favorite e-clowns make on Twitch, I'm thinking I just need to like go full time and just stream.
Well, I mean, it was a little, so it's like magnitude, right? So you got like one guy making like $1 million. You got like 10 guys making like $250K. And then you got like...
No, dude, the numbers were way higher than that.
Really?
They were, I mean, what I saw a Payspin link on Reddit that I clicked on my phone, and I was like, oh, this will be fun to look at.
Illinois, that'll get him his viewers for sure, man.
What?
Start licking microphones, buddy.
And then I put that link into my computer to look, and then it said, you know, this has been removed, and then I refreshed it on my phone, and it was down in like 5 seconds. But the streamers that I saw, it was like over a period of like a couple of years, but like some of those big dudes were bringing in multiple millions of dollars. I mean, we're talking like $6, $7, $8, $9 million. So you had a group of like really big fish, and then a lot of people making, you know, 6 digits worth of money. Some of my favorite people that I watch on Twitch are extraordinarily humble people, but you know, they have made over almost $1 million in the past 3 years streaming.
I mean, Coolbling said top of the list was making 37 mil.
So
man,
I'm going to stop repairing pinball machines. I'm going to just be a e-clown on Twitch
and have people give me fake channel points so I can do something funny and say it in a funny voice. No, just kidding. I would like to stream though. I've always like actually thought about like, yeah, I play a lot of boring strategy games, but people like watching.
You
that
like
stuff.
watching that stuff.
I watch it all the time. There's an audience, you know.
I don't like watching that stuff. I thought the hot tub thing was kind of passe now, right?
The what?
The hot tub streamers.
Yeah, I don't know who that appeals to. I'm not sure.
You can do pin repair in a hot tub, is what Colin's suggesting. So.
No.
Obi says, stream at home with the cats, Kyle. Bust out those pots for the kids.
I want to stream more at home. Emoto and I have talked about it. It's just about getting equipment. Like, I don't like moving all of this equipment between my house and here. And it's not just the cameras. It's like, actually here, I'm not a stream lord. I don't like watch a ton of pinball streaming on Twitch. I like to watch pinball streams on Twitch to talk with the people playing pinball, not because I want to watch them play pinball. But I want to build like a very basic like streaming frame or something, you know, like, because we have like professional studio kind of stuff here, and I have a teeny little Volkswagen Golf, and I don't like disassembling our giant C stand to use as like my playfield camera and dragging stuff all over the place. So, you know, if someone would link me or help me find a place where people have made like small or like PVC or semi inexpensive like frames, like I want to do that super bad.
Yeah, it looks like Obi's offering his help. Let's get you a setup at home, man. We can make you a sweet PC rig and pinball frame rig.
Yeah, I mean, my PC's powerful enough to stream, which I totally could do. And I've got this laptop here that I would stream from home on. And I really enjoy streaming from home. And I enjoy streaming from here with Steve. But sometimes, man, it's just the last thing I want to do after work is stream pinball sometimes. You know?
Mystery Pinball Theater 3000 used a coat rack.
It's not a bad idea. Huh. Yeah, I'll have to go ask Manu about that then.
Oh yeah, what beers do you have left from your care package was a question that Colin asked earlier while you were...
Oh, I think we have, I mean, I saved like 2 stouts that I need to give you. That's all. We didn't drink any on that night. We did Oktoberfest.
That was super fun.
That was really fun.
That was so much fun.
We got pretty toasty. We need to send you a care package,
yes,
and maybe we'll give ourselves a deadline of the end of the month to come up with the beer.
We'll give ourselves until the end of October, and then we will do it. I know we've been promising that for a long time.
Yeah, we just need to get off our butts and do it.
Life happens, but
yeah, sorry.
But yeah.
All right,
Thanks
man.
for hanging out, Colin.
Bye, Colin.
Yep.
You rule.
We'll see you.
Yeah, okay, Roller Pinball says that he built it and it worked well. So maybe Emoto and I can build that when she comes to town in a couple weeks. I really like your rig, Fliptronic. It's just, I am never going to utilize it nearly as often as you and Rebecca do. So it's like, I don't want to invest in something like that just to have it, you know, sit around. So, but anyways, yeah, man, we'll play some pinball. I've got some good games at home. I got to bring more games home. I'm thinking about bringing Viking or Lady Luck home. Maybe Jungle Lord. I don't know. Jungle Lord might stay here because it's ugly for now. I don't know.
I've been thinking about, do you remember Wacky Packages?
No.
They were like, I guess you're a little young for that, but they were like trading cards that had like parody packages on them. Like, you know, crust instead of crest, and it would have like a picture of like really gross teeth on the toothpaste tube.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But I've been thinking about doing that for pinballs, right? Like do parody pinball machines. So far I have Jungle Lard and Stargazer. That was just from doing manuals this morning.
I like Stargazer.
Stargazer's great. That's
Jungle
one of my
Lard
favorites.
would be really funny.
Right, yeah, Garbage Pail Kid Pinball. Exactly, old school Iams.
Oh, yeah. Huh. I mean, the problem is I want to go way too X-rated with a lot of these things.
We got to keep them clean.
Yeah,
right?
not safe
friendly.
for Twitch either. There's some things I want to say right now that I can't, but we'll do that once the cameras go off.
Awesome, Grumpy and Doctor. I still have a lot too.
Huh.
Wacky Packages were great.
What games do you have on your list at home that you'd use to stream? Repair? I don't know. I mean, everything needs to be fixed. Can I move this? Here, hold on.
I just noticed that like I'm looking at the chat and then y'all just see like the side of my head. So if I do this, and then you can see that in the camera, but it's fine. We're not worried about camera angles. Emoto's not even here, so. Right now at home I have TNA, Total Nuclear Annihilation. I have Xenon, Grand Prix, Twilight Zone, and Jungle Princess. I think that's my list at home. So we can play some combination of those and have fun, I guess.
That's awesome, Kiwi Frenzy. Said his Whirlwind flipper coil is working as it should be. It was a faulty end of stroke, and thanks for the tips and on where to look.
Oh, nice. Okay, good. Yeah, I think I remember talking to you about that. We mentioned that it may be like a broken coil winding or something, but having a broken coil winding would have a very similar effect to a busted or worn out end of stroke switch. So, yay! Enjoy playing.
That's interesting. That several pinball streamers have recently added an adult content warning before the stream starts. They have not changed their content, and there's really nothing adult about it. So maybe just as a disclaimer, just in case, like you last week, right?
Hey, that's the first time I've sworn in a really long time. I don't know why. I think Emoto wants to keep this show more family friendly in that sense, where we can play it like at the pinball shows, we've been putting like replays of this show on, which embarrasses the hell out of me, but putting it on and like kind of having it on a television with a speaker and like it's just on at the show and people can sit and watch and like be, whoa, what's this? Oh, this is what it is. And so I think it's like if I was using my normal vernacular and swearing a lot, that wouldn't be as friendly. But when we do after hours, we do put that disclaimer there so Steve and I can swear and drink on camera and stuff. So.
And Rebel Dog says shortening the spring on the shooter rod worked.
Great.
Shooter rod is now connecting with the ball.
Awesome. I love that. That makes me happy. Good work. But yeah.
Awesome. The games behind Kyle are a mix of his and the owners of Marco Specialties, Mark and Nancy. Mm-hmm. There's some really cool games back there.
Let's see. Wait.
You can't see the planets.
That one's mine. That one's Marco's. That one's Steve's. Steve Burtok, not that Steve.
Right.
That one, that one is mine, and that one is mine. I've got a lot of games in here. The games in the background of Steve, though, I don't think any of those are Mark and Nancy's. Time Warp is.
Yep.
Then Steve has another Kings of Steel there. Then Steve has Nitro Ground Shaker, which needs some work. There's a neat collection of games in here, though. A lot of goofy stuff. But we all know the best game here is definitely Primus.
I was going to say Baywatch.
It's actually Hotline, the playfield right there.
Hotline, yeah, just the playfield. Best game in here.
My coworker Bill, we're going to do something experimental. We are actually going to lay down a piece of veneer on top of that bit. If anyone remembers the Hotline saga, we're going to lay down an actual piece of veneer on top of the missing sheet that came loose, and then I am going to sand a ball groove into that top piece.
We sold a Primus not too long ago. We said no one willingly owns Primus.
No, y'all are wrong. Who owns Primus? Marco Specialties does. And yeah, no, we sold. Yeah, Primus is cool, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's for what it is. It's a lot of fun. I don't know.
I mean, I get it though. Like, I probably wouldn't spend $6,000 of my own dollars on Primus just because it's just, I'm not a huge Primus fan. Yeah, I'm not a huge Primus fan. Right. But if I really loved Primus, that's super cool.
Oh, Nolan, I love the band too. But I mean, have you played it? The call outs are so good, and the music's amazing.
Yeah, it's a good package. I mean, the art's great, the sound's great. Added with the music, the voice work. I think the thing is a lot of people play those games at pinball shows and they're like, "Oh, that's terrible." But let's be honest, playing a pinball at pinball shows is like the worst place to play pinball. It's loud. You can't hear anything. Like the games are like a lot of times hastily set up and whatever. What?
Nolan says he doesn't need to play something to be a jerk about it.
Not wrong. You're not wrong. Absolutely. You're totally right. And you have every single right to be a jerk about it, but...
That's right, Fliptronic. Primus sucks.
No.
Yes.
Okay, they kind
Have
of...
you never been to a Primus concert?
Yeah, Primus does kind of...
No, everybody shouts
Everyone
that.
says Primus
Yeah,
sucks. I know, it's a thing.
That's what you do.
But... Okay, well, I didn't think about that side of it. I have been to a Primus concert. I saw Les Claypool walking around once, and he looked very scary.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, zap. It's got big, juicy bumpers.
I think we sold our last Big Juice, or Whoa Nelly, last week.
Yeah, just last week. Yeah, wild.
Sorry, y'all lost your chance. No Primus, no Whoa Nellies for you. Oh man, today was a lot of work. I'm sad that we didn't get to try to turn the game on, but whatever.
I do think out of the 3 models, though, that Primus is my favorite. Like,
really?
Obi's saying, yeah.
I think PBR.
Yeah.
I think Can Crusher is my favorite. But
I'm just not. What was the band's name? Red. Wolf. Some local Bay Area band.
I don't know. But you're right. That is probably the worst part about it, is the music. I just like it because I like Dirty Donnie's artwork on it. It's probably
the artwork is great. Yeah.
Probably my favorite Dirty Donnie package, and it's just funny. I just love PBR. I love PBR now. I used to hate PBR because like every time we'd go anywhere on tour, like every house we'd stay, I was like, oh yeah, here's a piece of PBR. It's like, oh thanks. Like,
I just can't drink it, man. I drink like one and I get the hiccups. I don't know what it is.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. Every time you go to a venue and they're like, hey, it's like we got free beer for the bands playing. Oh, that's cool. Here's some PBR. Like, no. Cool, that's nice, thanks. You just over drink PBR and then you just can't drink it.
Well, cool. You wanna start thinking about who to raid or?
No, I'm just gonna sit here and talk all day.
Awesome.
Well, let's wait for Manu. Let's wait see if Manu comes online, because that's what we said last week, is we really needed to jump back on. Here, I'll go on my phone really quick. Hey, did everyone sign up for the Stern Insider?
They were talking about that earlier. Yeah, a couple of them already have.
I am Black Cat. They kept it real simple.
Oh, Grumpy M Doctor's giving you a little challenge. He said, you could probably run the game for 2 minutes to see if it at least boots.
I could. That's what I was thinking, but I don't want to... You're evil, David. Okay, fine. Old Milwaukee. Yeah. Let's just plug it in. We'll just see.
You doing it?
Yeah, let's just do it.
All right.
You know, there's no use in a cliffhanger. Because I was thinking, here's the other thing too, right? Like,
well, let's move this camera so that.
Oh, let me just open the game up real quick.
Nope, camera's already moved.
All right. I don't want people to see my butt. So Emoto's not going to be here again next week, and I'm not sure what we're going to do. Like I was thinking next week we might do another stream of Vector, and then I was thinking maybe that night or another night, Steve, not putting you on the spot, but like there's nothing that says we can't bring Godzilla over here and open it up and stream it if we wanted to. Emoto actively encouraged that to potentially happen.
Said thing to happen?
Yes. So, I mean, there are things to consider, and we can, and maybe if you want to, if you feel like it. I hate the rails on this game because the playfield never sits at an angle that I feel like it's going to stay in. It always seems really scary.
So your usernames for Stern Insider are limited to 12 characters. Remember that.
Yeah. Is Bat Out of Hell here?
No, Obi.
Oh. Yeah, no. Ty, our friend Bat Out of Hell by Meatloaf, was very frustrated that he could not be Bat Out of Hell by Meatloaf. So Stern, shame, shame, shame.
Yeah, I think it actually has the Blue Oyster Cult song in the soundtrack, Zap. So
I don't know. We'll think about it. We'll see how we feel. I mean, we're not stream lords. We're not total e-clowns, but I mean, it would be fun to play the game. I very much want to play the game.
Absolutely, yeah, and to do it, live would be amazing too. So
yeah. So what I'm gonna do? Yeah, I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna unplug the computer first, I'm just going to measure voltages, even though I'm like really confident, but you know, it's better to be safe than sorry.
David says you ought to screw down the rectifiers too.
It's going to be on for seconds. I just want to see if I get 7 flashes. If I get 7 flashes, I'm happy, we're good. If I screw it, if I screw it down, I might forget that I didn't put heatsink paste on it. Okay, so what we're doing is unplugging the computer. Boop. Is this in frame? Kind of. It's badly shot, but whatever.
Right, we're gonna see if that magic smoke stays in.
Yeah, we'll make sure that I see if I polarize my capacitors well. It's funny, sometimes it takes a minute for the capacitors to actually explode too. We're gonna measure some stuff here. Slide this underneath this stapled wire. I'm just gonna measure for 12 volts really quick. Got good unregulated voltage. We've got good 5 volts. I don't think the Squawk and Talk booted up. I wasn't paying 100% attention to that. Really quick, while I'm in here, I'm also going to set the voltage for the high voltage as well. You have to be really careful when you do this because there is 200 and something volts that will zap you. Oop, wrong one. 182 volts, perfect. Okay, let's plug it in really quick and see. So since the soundboard and the computer are 2 separate computers, I'm gonna just watch and see if this can boot up independently without this. So we're gonna watch the LEDs on the computer flash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, woohoo. And the program runs. So that's good. We really don't have a ton of work to do after that, but we really, really want to see. Actually, let's watch the Squawk and Talk this time. We've just got 1 solid LED. So I'll need to look into the troubleshooting for that, but there could be a few things wrong with that. But it wants to find its balls. Oh, that's good. That's a lot less work for me to do.
No shocking, no smoke, no explosions.
Nah, I'm an expert. Expert. Yeah, just,
air quotes.
You just fake it till you make it. The Squawk and Talk, maybe we'll work on the Squawk and Talk next week. Maybe that will actually be our...
That's right, that none yet. Yeah.
Come on. Y'all have no faith in me anymore. It used to be a community of positivity. Like, yeah, great job, Kyle. You fixed it.
Like, nah, I just want to see him get shocked.
Yeah, I just want to see Kyle electrocute himself. We got all these channel point redemptions now. Y'all are E-clowns.
Grumpy had a stopwatch going and called it out when your 2 minutes were up. And
2 minutes?
Said, nice work.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'm going to remove Squawk and Talk now and then put the game back together. But yeah, that's good. Maybe next week when we can set up the cameras a little better, I will also show how to adjust the high voltage on your Bally game if it still uses high voltage displays, because that is important. Someone needs to text Manu and tell him to get...
Well, it says he's live.
Oh, yeah, there he is. Okay, I guess we can raid him now.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for hanging out, guys. Had a lot of fun today.
Let it be known that Steve wants to leave and does not want to continue.
That is not what I said.
I kid. I have some beer to go pick up. I think we got to play 1 game of pinball.
Yeah, we're going to enjoy a beer and some of that thermal icing we've been dreaming of since you mentioned it, Obi.
Yummy.
So what do? I do
/ raid, and then you type in his
MPT3K.
Yeah. All right, you guys go have fun with Manu. He's the greatest.
Yep.
You guys are cool. Join our Discord. I don't know how to drop a link because I can't, but you should.
Enjoy the rest of your Thirsty Thursdays, fellas.
Bye.
And ladies,
So
bye.
you click that, and then you're going to have to click another button. So 1 viewer, 9 viewers, 11 viewers. Oh yeah, we have 5 seconds to say bye. Okay, double bye. You guys rule. Bye.
See you, fellas.
Okay, Nick's out of that. Go to his Twitch channel now. Let's see what he says. Yeah, you can do that.